So, the world is a whore to the strongman. That's a good quote I just heard. Maybe I should turn that background stuff off. That's probably louder than me. So, what does that mean? Well, it's interesting because I know exactly what that means because apparently I'm a strong man and whores love me. And it's great. That's great for me. You know why? It's great that whores love me because most of them are whores and most of them hate you and despise you. They despise the general male population. Maybe not you. Maybe you're different. There are some of us who are different, and I was kind of taught by those people. I don't even know if they realize they taught me. Some of them do it. Obviously, my teachers realize they taught me. And some of the people I know who taught me, they think we're like equal. And it's like, no, dude, at first I thought you were far superior to me. But, just being unaware of who you are actually helps you be you, because if you don't set boundaries, you will be you. If you don't say I'm this and that, then you'll be you, and you'll be whatever it takes you to be, because you aren't you when you're 1 year old. You're not the smartest person that's ever crawled across the floor and ever will crawl across the floor again. But in this path of learning, like, I have attracted a lot of whores. And I don't say that really with disrespect. It's just, it's a word that's been turned to hateful things. Like, like my cracker. Use my cracker. It's like, why are you so offended I'm calling you a cracker? Why are you so offended I'm using the word white? It's like, why can't I use the word white supremacist anymore without being banned? It's like, why are these words so offensive? That's simply because you want it to be. But that's the difference between a strong man and a whore. Is a strong man doesn't care. He will use the word accordingly. You're a promiscuous, slutty whore. I mean, does that make you any less of a person? Inside your brain, it does. That's why it offends you. If someone calls you a nigger and it offends you, then, well, that person was probably trying to offend you with that, and they won the battle by offending you with it. And if someone calls you a cracker and it offends you, then you sound like a mighty crack-a-lacka to me. If someone calls you a whore and it offends you, you must be a whore, and you must not be proud of it. If someone calls you a slut and it offends you, this slut-shaming thing, it's like, just simply stop being offended by it. Stop being shamed by the word. Start being honest for once in your life. This is like a theme not common with women, but again, straight back to the strong man and the whore. What it means is they appreciate the people who are honest. Now, they don't come to me and like, ooh, cuddle and schmoozy. I mean, they would if they understood just how good I am at that, but I don't just want to offer that to anyone anyways. But they do avoid it when you start being open and honest. Now, if you're a strong man and you just keep the door open and the mouth shut, they really love that shit. They really love that. Because they know you know more than you think you know, even. And you can learn this stuff from whatever viewpoint you're at and wherever you're coming from. If you're a cuck, you've probably already learned this. And this, from what I've seen, okay, my first experience with cucks and orgies and basically, cucks, people giving you their wives. I was a child, about 16 years old, when a group of adults wanted me to join them. And so this was the first time I got some education on cuckdom, way long before you guys ever talked of it like it was an evil, brand new thing. It's like, it's so brand new. I was doing it, and other people were doing it in the 90s to me, right? And I'd look back on how many times it eventually happened and made me wonder how many times it was really happening, and I was just ignorant to all these facts at the time. Even though they clearly treated me as the strong man they looked up to, and they treated the other boys as rags. They wiped their, they wouldn't even wipe their dog's ass with after it takes a shit. It's a good example because most of these women don't want to touch you and don't want to be around you. They don't want to be around their cock. They don't want to be around their pocketbook, their money bag, whatever. Like, literally, they spit on them and they like it. Like, their cock likes this. The woman's like, pow, and the cock's like, oh, dude, it was good. It was fun, entertaining. And it's like, and there's a difference between loving anything that a woman does to you and touches you, but and just being a bitch and knowing that that's kind of your role, is to be a bitch, and you never try to be anything else, and you kind of maybe were never born anything else. Maybe sometimes it boils down to the mother destroying the male child so much that it becomes a bitch. They tried to do that to me. The lady who tried to raise me wanted me to be the perfect bitch, but I was everything perfect. I turned into everything perfect a woman would want, except for the bitch part. Like, I have a hard time registering being your bitch. Even when I'm like this big and like learning to crawl on the floor like these giant demons in America, like, hey, we're gonna drug you if you crawl the wrong direction, and we're gonna smack you across your face if you don't start crawling right when I say start crawling. And we're gonna put you in this place called school, and we're gonna teach you how to crawl the way we want you to crawl. Right, left hand first, right hand, left, right. You better do it right, because we're gonna break you. I was never good at that. I'm like mildly retarded. Like I seriously, I'm not even. It's not even sarcasm when I say I'm like mildly retarded. I mean, the most people I meet are like certified retarded. They go to McDonald's and they manage to not kill themselves and not put their hands in the fryer, so they're normal and functional. And it's like the extent of their day. They go home, hit the TV power on button until it's time to go back and try not to put their hand in the fryer again, and for another 8 hours. Like that's normal and functional. But the cuckdom, and that's actually part of cuckdom at the end of the day. It takes a minute to realize that you're a slave, and even for me, like a person who could never be a slave and just will stat. I mean, boy, I'd love to see it happen, like on a even playing ground. It never does. It never does. They get scared. Like, the big people get scared. When I was like little, it's like, it's great to know how much these people fear me. It's like they didn't used to fear me, and it was like, it's a scary world when people don't fear you, because then they're just preying on you. And the cucks are being preyed on. The cucks aren't feared, and so they live this life like this, where it's kind of like, I'm not to degrade, like I said, not to degrade prostitutes, sluts, and whores. Although, like, a slut is just a slut. A prostitute has a high value. A whore has a high value. A slut, well, she'll pay a cuck for attention sometimes. And that's, like, no value. But still, I try to be equal about it. And it's not like a slut is really any different from most other females I met. I mean, where are these non-sluts in the world? Like, where are they? Are they like hiding around the corner or something? Maybe they're like me and they're just hiding in the library somewhere 24/7 and they don't do this normal association thing. That makes sense. Like, intelligent people do what I do. How else did it happen? Still trying to figure that out since no one else can do the research and I do it. So, we're still working on this. That's the whole point of this, of me wasting my time talking here and sharing uh, observations, facts, understanding, and experiments I've done. My life is like a giant science experiment, and I made sure eventually that it turned into that. And congratulations, you're a guinea pig. If you want to put your nose in my life, then that's what you get. Because all these sluts, whores, and demons who poke their nose in my life, most of them aren't here for good purposes. And 99%, 90 to 99% of the people who have poked their nose in my life the last 10 years are not doing it for good purposes. They've got evil words coming out of their mouth, evil intentions. They're always trying to go back to something about money. They want to talk about money because they want to know how much I have so they know how much they can get. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you're being experimented on. Don't try that shit on me, dude. Although, I'm still a victim of this, aren't I? On one of my highest levels, I'm the perfect specimen of this society. I am the perfect possible outcome they could ever have, minus the fact I'm not a slave. Like, but you can't have it both ways. You can't have the intelligent person and a slave, because the free thinker outthinks the slavery like the second it opens its eyes in the morning. Like I'm trying to outthink slavery when I'm asleep, literally in so-called dreams. I'm like trying to figure out the answer to the dream. Like I'm like, wait a minute, this is weird. Is this a dream? And then I wake up. Like, that doesn't happen normally. This is a dream, isn't it? And they're like, wait. Fade to reality, wake up time. So the understanding of cucks is more than just it's like it takes a cuck kind of to sit around and complain about cucks. Like, this is cuckdom. Like, we must band together and be stronger cucks than ever before. Although at the same time, it's hard for a cuck to band together and try to be strong. It's like, stronger than ever before. Why did you turn into like a? You went from a wet noodle to a dried out noodle. What? But trust me, the MGTOW people, I see them, I see their videos, and I'm like, this is a faggot. Like, no offense to gay people. I swear to God, the gay people who come in my life are cool motherfuckers. They got real attitude problems. They probably would attempt to back up to the death, even if their little 90-pound bodies couldn't do it. They would do it. Like I said, the women in this, like I say all the time in America, the white culture, it's not USA. This is a scam that the cuckery and the homosexuality is no, and let the Joe teach them how to. The Joe taught them to do it. It's like the Joe's in control, but they're just like giving you a noose to hang yourself with. They're preying upon your natural instinct. That's why they riot up. That's why they try to rile up the blacks and the Arabs, because they're trying to prey on the natural shit. They can't just rile up the whites. The whites go in the street, go like, my rights now, and then people are just like, get out of here. And it's like all they do. My rights now. My rights now. And it's like, yeah, I mean, at least blacks are burning down McDonald's and stealing stuff from Walmart, Walgreens, right? Like, they're taking care of their family in the process of the robbery, not the burning down the McDonald's, but it's a sign that we're coming for you. It's, even though it's a dumb move to burn down why not just rob the McDonald's? I mean, like you did the Walgreens. But the whites don't do that. The whites are like, my rights now. My rights now. Again, I hate making fun of gays because every time I meet a gay, it's like some hardcore motherfucker. Like, I mean, you know, they's hardcore. We's hardcore. They're intelligent. They got some musical talent. They got some fucking some theatrical talent. They got they might be kind people, but they got some aggression. And the white people like my right now. Like seriously, the normal white people are acting like these like these gays and cucks, and so I look at it, and what happens is the few of us who aren't these sissy motherfuckers. And I think even like white women love to hang out with gay males. I think it's because they have more respect and they're less sissies than the men they typically run over, and they're attracted to that. But most of these men are just doormats for these women, like literally something to wipe their high heel on. I don't even think these girls, these mistresses, they don't like the people who, the boys who are funding them, they're cucks. They don't like them. Like it's not an act that they love S&M, and they're like, "Ooh yes, baby. Ooh yes, we love S&M. That make me so wet and make me juicy, and I have an orgasm every 5 seconds. We doing this." It just they literally are sick of these cucks. Like so, they want to stomp on them. They want to use them, and the cucks is like, "Yay, a woman used me today. I feel a woman looked at me today. I like that. She spit in my eye today. And it's so good. I'm never gonna wash my eye again." And so the whore, the slut, just the normal woman. Let's not call it any sort of name since they get so offended by anything. I mean, it's not just them. Everyone is a little bitch when it comes to being called something. It's like, call me a bitch, call me a faggot, whatever. You can see, like, people in my comments used to, like, insult me, and it does no good. Like, I insult you, I laugh at you and insult you back so hardcore that you go and cry. You just attack me. And this is the way it's always been in my life. It doesn't matter who it is. People attack me even when I'm a little child, and then they eventually cry and call the cops. They're like, "You broke my arm. I tried to punch you and you defended yourself. And then when I hit your arm, it broke my arm. I'm calling the police on you." And literally and metaphorically, that's exactly what these people do. So, yeah, I'm not saying this to offend it, but the women, the females, the little girls, whichever category you really fit into, they they have no respect for these cucks either. But they know that the only man out there of any value is the one who's honest to them. Now, they're never, almost, the majority of these men I've met are so few and minute. I'm just like, do they even exist at all? Like, even I'm not like fully manified. Like, I'm still on the journey. I'm still waking up to this. I didn't have a father to teach me, but he could have taught me, but he kept his mouth shut every time I asked him about women. He's a strong man in the fact that he doesn't talk about people. Um, he talks about his business and moving forward with business and stuff. So you can't condemn really any of these people for any of their actions because there's billions of choices in life and only trillions of choices in life, and there's only millions of seconds, and there's only thousands of hours, and it takes hours to begin to learn any sort of trade, any sort of thing, and then there's trillions of traits and choices in life. So you don't get through them all ever, unless you're really smart and you can see all this stuff and learn this stuff really fast. And you aren't. Sorry, and I'm not. You aren't. Not met these people. I've seen them on TV selling books. Like, I'm a speed reader. I just do a book real fast and read it. And it's like, I really doubt that because, like, these people claim to be really super, super fast learners. Like, I'm like a really fast learner, and I'm like one of the top scorers. And you couldn't have scored. There's only like a slight classification of the people higher than me, and they score significantly higher because they're like that little bit gives you a whole lot. But in general, it doesn't exist. And I think all that stuff's scheming. So you can only do so many things in life. And so, again, this isn't even to insult cucks. This is actually to tell you the use of cucks. Like, a cuck might, like, go get a job and work for a, a woman who just wants to take his money, and he's got no sexual value. He doesn't know what's going on sexually. He can't entertain a woman. He spent his whole life working. He doesn't know how to love a woman. His dad was never around, probably slaving for a woman too, and the woman was probably teaching him how to be a slave. And so, where does he learn to love unless he can find it inside himself? Well, he can if he's busy being a cuck all the time and working hard to be a cuck. And the woman sees all this, and I think the cuck sees all this as well. The so-called cuck, whatever. There's like different levels, and the cuck is like specifically a name of one little action. So there's like simp, buster. Some might call him retard. There's all a loser, a sucker, a husband, boyfriend. There might be all these words that generally mean something else. And the women see this, and the men are kind of dumb. Like I said, you can only choose your path to a certain extent, so you can't expand too far. You don't have that time. That's why some of these people work for 5,000 years across generations of family, because they have to work together. They can't obtain it all themselves. They're having a hard time obtaining it with millions of their own people. Let me pause. Okay, so you have the different cucks. The different people of the world seem to display different levels of this. So they help educate you about what's going on in the world. And I get a lot of this because I get a lot of education on this because I'm white or local white. Who knows, right? Maybe I'm not. They treat me like I'm definitely not. And they seem to be like the cucks of the world. Like, in fact, they may have invented this when they invented chivalry. Like, men, like poet men, sat around in like the 1800s, and they were like, let's invent this thing called love. And they're like, oh, it's so great, let's court one another and all this. And then they attempted to turn marriage, which was like purchasing a woman, into love. They're like, I can make a woman love me, give her roses and chocolate. Boy, that's offensive. Like, boy, I can hear the women now. What are you telling them? Don't you tell them that it's a figment of their imagination. But you can easily see this because their women generally just take their money and go give it to other men. Like, they take their boys' money, the boys they marry and date, and go give it to men. Sorry, I said other men as if the boys were men. And so I look at my life and it's like I've benefited a lot off cuckdom. If women want a good looking man, well, I've been a model before, and apparently several of them have let me know that. And not included, not discluding the fact that during those times I even was dating models and like people I know who have been models have told me things, although I don't believe them. But there's also they like the fact that I'm not like a little bitch doormat. But at the end of the day, a lot of these cuck wives, cuck women, they they just want the cuck for money. And then so there's like six other things. Like Eddie Murphy did a skit on this, and it's actually kind of accurate. Like a woman, he's like a woman wants seven men. He wants the mandingo. He wants the money bags. He wants the slave to take care of the other person, kid she had, a man to have kids with, and I forget the rest. But I really only know me. I guess that's why I forget the rest. And like, I guess for me, that makes me the man dingo, because I really don't offer much else, do I? It's not like I'm like, oh, come on, dear woman, I will buy you flowers and chocolates. It's like I got plenty of chocolate. You want some chocolate? Like, um, I don't believe in stupid Hallmark greeting cards designed to trap women's minds. It's kind of like a diamond ring, like they just want a symbol of slavery. They're like, yeah, we killed black people for that. You love me. That means you love me. And then they're like, ooh, you wasted your money on this paper card that says, you is so special, 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 have some money. And they're like, ooh, I love that. That card shows me that you got money to throw in the trash. That means you love me. They're somewhat interested in different things, but men can only provide so much. It's like if I were a slave who just worked at McDonald's 24/7 collecting dollars, like counting pennies and like putting a penny here and there and saving up one day to give all my pennies away to one woman in a week. Like I just worked 20 years and now a woman comes by who needs it in a week. Like I can't do that. I got some pennies saved up. You want some pennies? I'll fucking throw them at you and hit you in the head with it. How about that? Actually, what I've done with pennies most of my life. So we're not even making jokes here. We're just can't stop being me sometimes. But there's certain things women like you for, and now I think a lot of men, half the men I know are the type of people. I'm not saying I've dated tons of people, but I know people who get with like one woman and then that's like the only one they've ever been with, so they've never been anywhere. And these are probably the most cucked out people. I wouldn't want to be around those people. Those people don't want to be around me. But most importantly, their women don't want them around me, and their women don't want them around anyone because they got to go work to make pennies for this female. Because they're basically enslaved. Now, white Hollywood propaganda, again, it comes at you with these lies that women are enslaved. And you look at the history, and it's like since the 1800s, when men invented chivalry and love, then we could think it switched then. And we're told in the past that rich men bought women and other men didn't get women. Women just were purchased by the Christian church and this and that. But there really just seems to be, like Eddie Murphy said, 7 or so reasons they come after people. And that makes sense. Like, think of what you like in life. Like, most of you guys only have like 2 or 3 things you like, not even 7. Like, I shouldn't say most of you. I don't know anyone on the internet. You don't even know if anyone's a real person when they're on the internet, because most people I've met on the internet like have never showed up, as if they never existed and were never real people. serious. I've been on the internet way longer than you, and I've probably interacted with more of these people way more than you. And I've met more cops from people on the internet calling cops on me than I have met real people from the internet. And it's almost always been some sort of scam. Even the reverse way. Like, I feel bad because one time, like, I was talking to someone and I thought I was going to date them, and they sent me some money, and then I quit talking to them because they're just so far away. And it's like, no, we're not. You're not doing this thing where you purchase me for a couple $100 and you own me for a year for like $200. It's like, no, we're cutting this off. Like, I'm not just going to go outside and sit in a sewer and steal someone's computer and internet so you can talk to me for a year. Internet people are weird as fuck. And these days it's just like the TV people, but on the internet. But you can't prove they exist, so it's not like they're just like TV people. If you see someone watching a TV, you see a real person. On the internet, you have no idea who any of these people are. Especially when they're making videos and they're constantly lying and fabricating stuff. It's like,